Okay, so what we have here is a chunk of work that I'm not able to capture in a way that shows my managerial team what the workload is. And also in the short term, what do you need me to look at first, Annabelle? my my to-dos they're going up by about 10 to 20 a day right now. And that's with me working. And I'm taking a week off at the end of the year. I I need some pointers of what to do first, what's blocking you, so that I can try to be less of an anchor. But also, this question is more for Kai. I'm going to bring this up with my manager as well on Thursday. How do we convey the true scope of what's going on and create? I'm already atop the entire GitLab leaderboard today. It's, oh, because all they look at merge requests. They don't care about being asked to look at things and issues. And so I know it's actually busier than what they're seeing.
To answer your first question, what's most important for me to review, respond to? I can't remember. I don't have it off the top of my head because I'm usually like, Amy, what do you think? Or Amy, how about this, Amy? Since this is kind of a short agenda, do you want to look at your to-dos and go through them and I can just tell you which ones are not important that I've pinged you on? Or
Okay,
how would
let
you
me
like to do that?
filter to just yours. Author. Okay, 5 are from you. So tell you what, let me drop in the links. That way we're being good and documenting things. I'm being mindful here that Pedro, I'm a little concerned you're going to do to me what you did to me last Christmas. You and I both had the same idea. We're going to work around Christmas. Nobody else is going to be here. We can get so much stuff done. I actually did screenshot my to-dos one day. It was literally 20 in a row from you. I cried a little inside, but we got it done. And I think for now, Annabelle, I would say until the end of the year, given that I'm going to be off from Christmas to New Year's, if I'm blocking you on anything, just tap me on the shoulder, please.
Okay, yeah. I'll just go through them and write which ones are important. And
Bless you.
one of them, that last one is just me thanking you, so you can clear that one
out. I've been unpicking a nightmare for the last hour, so I haven't looked.
Or if it's on a merged or closed pull request, or excuse me, merge request or issue, then just clear it out. It's probably not important.
Okay. Kai, from a project tracking perspective, do you have any suggestions that I can bring back to my team to track? How do we track this sort of work that doesn't appear in merge requests?
I do not. It's probably a good question for Andre or Matt, because that feels
Okay.
like an engineering problem question of like they are similarly I guess similarly, I did not know tech writers were done this way, but although this aligns with how we think about things, they're similarly like benchmarked against like merge request throughput.
Yep, so are we.
But engineers don't always work in merge requests. Like that's not their full-time
Right.
job. So I'm assuming the engineering org has a way to deal with that. So I would do that. I think but at least gives you a place to start. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, the other option is you start adding labels to every issue, but that seems weird that you would be told to track your work when like others of us are not, in a way that's
Right.
like, it feels like elitist. Like I don't want to say that, but like it feels weird that like you would have to say you spent this much effort on an issue and Annabelle and I would not, and the engineering managers don't have to say how much time they spent talking about an issue, but like other people do. That's sort of
Okay.
weird.
I'll ping the two of them and ask, because this feels like a systemic problem that is manifesting more in Create right now, because when the two of you are both here, I'm at a 2-to-1 disadvantage, and that's unusual. I've advocated in the past to my managerial team that I think long term, the correct answer for source code and code review is 2 people assigned to both. But I don't know that I'll get that soon or ever, because we can't split the groups. And I'm starting to think that this is just more, there's more work here than one person can do. Ideas, thoughts, anything?
Yeah, I don't know how we do gearing ratios for tech writing. I think it's sort of been random. I know at one point there was like a thing. So I would.
It's writer, each writer is supposed to carry 2 groups. I am carrying a third because database has so little of a need for outside documentation. And they're nice, and I like working with databases, so it keeps my hand in. But they're a tiny sliver of my overall.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think, not all groups are created equal.
I think a tech writer to engineering ratio probably makes more sense, but I don't know.
What in terms of merge requests, what interaction is counted for your workload? Is it assignments, review requests?
Should be review requests.
Okay.
So let me.
So I don't know if it helps, but at least for me, it started helping. At first, I thought it would be just a waste of time and inefficient, but after some time, it started gaining value, which was to start tracking my time. And because it's not so much the number of things, it's the time that you spend on them, because that's you can't break down time more. It's just time. It's what everyone on the planet has, that, nothing else. And so I started tracking time on, for example, the time that I spend on community contributions versus reviewing merge requests for a current milestone versus attending to issues in the current milestone versus pings outside of. So every time, but this is part of my workflow because I compartmentalize responding to pings for the current milestone and responding to pings outside of the grid milestone.
Okay.
And so that allows me to say, you know, how much time I'm spending outside of the grid milestone versus the grid milestone, or even between issues and merge requests in the grid milestone. But again, that's basically because of the way that I structured my work. I have a specific time just to look at merge requests in the grid milestone, and then I stop doing that and look at issues, for example. Of course, sometimes I need to look at both, but sometimes I can make that separation and then can go back to Marcel and say, hey, I'm spending this amount of time, or even saying like, I've allotted this amount of time per week and it's not enough. Okay, so where do I cut? Where do you want me to cut? Am I going
like
to cut
that.
on
That's an
strategic
evil
work?
approach.
You know, because at the end of the day, it's just time. Like I need to replace this time with something else. I cannot create more time.
Yeah, you don't have to sell me on time tracking. This is actually the first job in a number of years that I haven't done it. So that would be an easy habit to fall back into.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. If I can't show them merge request reviews, at least show the time spent.
Because the assignments don't always work for issues, right? Sometimes you're pinged on an issue that you don't own, like you're just there to give an opinion, but sometimes you spend a lot of time there. So you're not going to assign yourself to it, or it's an issue in the backlog and we're still figuring out if we're going to do it. You're not going to assign yourself to it. So the assignments for issues don't work as well as review requests. Or maybe there's a way for you to search your Gmail for mentions in issues in a certain time period. And you could say, this month, I got this amount of pings in issues or something like that. I don't know.
So this is, I did finally find this. Okay. So that's all I have. The time suggestion is, that's a new metric that I could start handing over. And Kai, I will reach out to Andre and Matt, because this problem has to have come up before. Hi, Top. You've been fed twice. No.
Yeah, I think it always has to be in relation to something. You know, for example, the MR rate you were talking about. You're evaluated, or decisions are made based on the MR rate, because you can compare the MR rate across teams or across people. If you want to start looking at issue pings, either you implement that for the whole team, or of course, if you're getting started, you just do that for yourself. But it doesn't say a lot if you're getting pinged on 10 issues versus 5 merge requests, for example. It just says, oh, you're getting pinged more issues than merge requests, but what does it mean at the end of the day for the workload? So I think that's framing the conversation on, like, this is everything that I'm doing and how I'm spending my time, and look at this amount of time that I have to spend on issue pings. So what do you want me to do about that?
Okay.
And
because right now, not getting to it.
Yeah, and that's not like
It's not
either
good.
we change how we work or as a team, or you change how you work, or we hire someone else to help you.
All right. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Let's see who's after me. I think there was something.
I have the next point.
Good.
Yeah, just anything. Yeah, I'm catching up on 2 months away from GitLab, so you can, if you haven't been there for that amount of time out, you can imagine how that must feel. But yeah, so far so good. It hasn't been that hard as I imagined. But anything that the people here in the group feel like I should know or catch up on as soon as possible, or even discuss right now if it's something urgent.
I put one in there. I feel like we should have made like a highlights list of like things that happened in retrospect. But like this is not that you need to catch up on it immediately, but Andre's leading a new series of like performance roundtables. They meet weekly at alternating times, but you know, worth checking out and seeing what's being discussed there. I think there's some interesting ideas, but you know, nothing super actionable yet.
Okay. And is it for anyone to join, or how does that?
It is. It's on the code review calendar, and I think it's open to anyone. I know he's posted about it in development and other channels, but largely the participation has been like inside of the code review group. And so we're looking for primarily opportunities around diff performance and like merge request performance.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Anything else? Ben from Research Front, anything that I should really know about? Or I will probably stumble upon a lot of things in the agendas, but you know.
Yeah, I can give you a brief rundown. I put a few things marked as read only there, but I can verbalize anyway.
Okay.
I've been working on the report for the MR intercept survey that we started and has been running.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's looking really cool. I don't want to give any spoilers yet, but
Good.
yeah, there's some good nuggets in there. It should be dropping today or tomorrow. I'm just waiting on a few charts from Matthew.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just so, well, regardless of the outcome, I'm just so happy that you've been able to work on that. And just to have something, you know, I think that's the most important thing for me. So thanks for doing that.
Yep. And yeah, I don't know if you and Annabelle have talked about the MR redesign work, but we're getting ready to start sessions. Unfortunately, our reops team is basically non-existent right now. One person is no longer at GitLab, the other is time off right now. But I will personally dive into the recruiting for this. Hopefully we can start sessions in the next couple of days. Otherwise, things you might not be aware of. I'm doing like a larger create stage jobs to be done effort at sort of the request of Marit and Sarah. So that's been going on. I've been looking at, I don't know, 300 some odd sus verbatim as one of my inputs, which was really interesting, as well as, of course, the user journey map that we did a while back. So
Yeah.
Happy to get your input on any of that stuff when you have time, but also not urgent.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. I was wondering when we would have time to get to that, to the jobs to be done. Some of those things that I think at least I created one issue at least a long time ago about that, and just like, hey, when we have time in the future, we have to think about that. So I'm glad that we're looking into it. yeah, let me know how I can help. I think in terms of like linking to like existing knowledge, I think you can get most of what we have in the handbook and also what we did in the user journey mapping. I think there's probably a few other things, but those two resources will probably help you already more than 80% of the way in terms of prior work.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you like, I can tag you on the issue. I'm collating a table of all the ones that I've found so far. And yeah, we'll use those as direction. But I think Sarah was looking for like stage level jobs to be done. So it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I imagine that like to think about stage level jobs to be done, you naturally will have to test the boundaries of jobs that are a bit lower and jobs that maybe are a bit higher. So to get the right level of granularity. So yeah, that makes sense to me, and very excited about that as well. You must be filled with work then. Oh, so much that you're doing.
I have a lot on my plate right now. But it's all good stuff.
All right, thanks for sharing that.
Cool. Well, I think that takes us to the end. So it's good to see everyone. This will be my last one for the year, I think. But we'll see you all in 2023, I guess.
Awesome. Are you taking time off starting like from next week onwards?
Yeah, I'll be off starting Tuesday of next week until the new year.
Okay, cool. Nice. Well, enjoy your time off if we don't see it before then.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Happy
Have a good one.
holidays. Bye-bye.